And here we go. So hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So it's just a quick little video, a quick little video really just to document a particular little clip. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I was hearing myself back there for a moment. So just a quick little video just to document something I came across or really on a rise. So this is Emmanual Iwuanyanwu, who is now fast turning into a southeastern supremacist. The sort of narrative that he's regurgitating around the social media space. Not even around the social media space, around the Nigerian landscape. So, who purports to be a senior politician, he speaks in this highly ethnicized language. So, we joined the Arise TV crew to review now and react to this now latest output by Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu, yet another right-wing southeast supremacist extremist jingoism. So let's pick it up from here. And apologies, there'll be a bit of background noise that you can hear. That's my son playing around, so that can be helped. But let's go on and then join Arise TV from the beginning of this. And we listen. I mean, if you've ever listened to Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu, you already know the sort of flavor that he brings to the party. So let's listen to a bit more of that flavor and see what we're making of it.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. There has been palpable tension in recent times in Lagos over the alleged demolition of property and businesses, mostly owned by residents of the state of Igbo extraction. Marketplaces and other business places around the state, where there are predominantly Igbo businessmen and women, have also reportedly come under one form of hostile intervention by authorities in Lagos under different official guises and pretexts. These unfortunate events have led to untold economic losses on the part of the patrons. Many of those affected.
So now already the opening salvo by this presenter, I don't know who this guy, I don't know his name. I know who he is somewhat. I've seen him on telly, but I don't know his name. But his opening salvo already tees up Iwuanyanwu to go now into some sort of ethnic narrative.
By the series of demolitions continue to claim it's all a witch hunt because of their possession of requisite official issued deeds and documents. However, agencies of Lagos state government have been less forthcoming on the reasons behind the continued demolitions. Meetings and co have also taken place between different stakeholder groups.
So this already is an unfair, because we've addressed this matter already, and Lagos State has addressed this matter already with copious evidence. So the dog whistle that this presenter is sending to Iwuanyanwu is to invite them that thought that southeastern properties are being destroyed in Lagos, but that matter has been dealt with. Illegally built structures built on waterways, leading to the flooding of the entire city, all of that, shanty towns in Oworoshoki, Festac, all over this place, different demographics captured, but this presenter now, dog whistling now, an ethnic invitation to Iwuanyanwu, who he knows as an ethnic jingoist, and he knows that he doesn't need that much of an encouragement. So now, next now, let's hear Iwuanyanwu pick up the baton. So what you're going to hear from Iwuanyanwu, by the way, is a reimagination of Nigeria's history, putting his flowers of a southeast plumage onto it, if I can put it that way.
Interested in the matter. Joining us now to again have a conversation around this matter is Chief Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu, who is a politician, businessman, and currently President General of Igbo Socio-Cultural and Political Organization, Ohanaeze Ndigbo. Great to have you join us on the morning show, sir. Good morning to you indeed.
Thank you very much, Steve. I'm glad to be with you. Glad to be with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It's always an honor to have you on the show. Let's talk about.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Let's have your overview of the situation concerning Igbo interests, particularly businesses, structures, homes, etc., in Lagos, given the current wave of demolitions, of notices being served, etc., in Lagos State? I know that you made a lot of visits last year in July, in December. There was even a committee, I believe, that was set up that was meant to kind of serve as an intervention thing to give the whole process a human face. What is your assessment of where we are today, and what would be your keywords to those who have been affected by some of the demolitions going on, sir?
Well, thank you.
All right. Before Iwuanyanwu picks it up, let me just say this. During that demolition phase, when they were trying to ethnicize it in Lagos with people like Obi Ezekwesili and all the senior names, Obi with his Peter Obi even himself with his Twitter, all of them tried to ethnicize the demolitions going on in Lagos State then, and then telling us that it's an offshoot of the elections and people were trying to drive the Igbos out of Lagos. Iwuanyanwu made an on-the-spot visit, and he went around all of the spaces that was being demolished, especially the southeastern spaces. And what he found, because he then went in front of the cameras to address it, what he found was that a lot of the structures that were, in fact, pretty much all of the structures that were being destroyed had no proper documentation, were built illegally, were built on right-of-way passages, canal ways, all of that. And he came live on television to address that, which a lot of people had applauded him for, but he didn't actually have the scope not to do that. So now let's not hear him now rewrite even his own recent pronouncements.
Very much. I want to make it very clear, abundantly clear, that Igbos didn't play any part in bringing Nigeria together in 1914. Since 1914, we became one country. Igbos have been very faithful to this union. Lagos was declared our federal capital. All of us, we are called to rally round to develop our capital. Everybody knows the state of Lagos by 1914 when Nigeria became one country. Igbos in loyalty and in
So you not only have to be listening to what he's saying, but also listen to what's being said, because a lot of dog whistles being sent out to different demographics in his pronouncements. So the Igbos had no part in the formation of or the picking rather of Lagos State as the capital. He said that, and but everybody was then called to rally round to develop Lagos. So we've been here before, and very quickly now is the narrative of the Southeasterners built Lagos is what he is now trying to continue to propel and to project. And it's a very dangerous narrative, by the way, because the more simple-minded person would not understand the nuance of what he's saying, and they would take it on a literal level and react to that on both sides of the divide. So this guy is a very disingenuous, very Machiavellian sort of a person, almost a dangerous man, this Iwuanyanwu of a fella.
in faithfulness and commitment to this country, Nigeria, moved to Lagos, and they made their contribution towards development. Make no mistake about it. Any other part of the country could have been capital. Capital could have been in Port Harcourt, it could have been in Asaba, it could have been in Calabar, it could have been anywhere, but it was Lagos. We didn't oppose it. We could have started opposing it there. No, why should it be Lagos? It's far from us. But as loyal Nigerians, we came in. Igbos came in the normal zeal, in the normal way they operate. They came in, they bought land from owners. When they came, there were people who owned the place. They were there. The Igbos didn't come to acquire empty land. Whatever property they have, they bought from people who own it. And they made developments. And every man of goodwill, every honest Nigerian will know that Igbos have played a lot of role in development of Lagos.
And there we have it. So there we have it. We've now landed in their traditional spot now, the Southeasterners built Lagos. So let's examine that. In Lagos State, the richest people are certainly not the Southeasterners, no. In fact, in the pyramid of wealth in Lagos State and in the pyramid of enterprise, of course, the Yorubas are the wealthiest in their own homestead, and then followed them by the Northerners, who are heavy weighted by people like Dangote, Rabiu, who are multi-billionaires, who heavyweight the industries that are a lot of industries around that Tinkan Island. A lot of heavy duty industries are owned by Northerners, but of course, you would never know that because they are not loud in the mouth like some of us can be. So that's the wealth pyramid. You have the Northerners, you have the you have the Yorubas, who of course are by virtue of being both their homestead and because they have the mental acuity. Hold on one second. And then they have the mental acuity to master their own space. The greatest wealth in Lagos is and some of the greatest wealth, the wealthiest people in Nigeria are actually the Yorubas. If you want to go to Statistars or what is this called, Statis something, I'll bring the data in one of these streams. The wealthiest people in Nigeria are the Yorubas, are closely followed by the Northerners, and then the South, and fourth in line is the Southeast, and that is the wealth pyramid in Lagos State as well. So in Yoruba land they say ariwo koni music. That means noise making is not music. Yes, Lato Rich, I'm live, but I'm just doing it as a reaction video, so I'm going to just cap it within 20-30 minutes. So ariwo koni music. So but this narrative that the Southeasterners built Lagos State is one that has to be taken on frontally. You can't just ignore it as a nonsensity, because the more traction it gets, the more dangerous it becomes further down the line. So the Southeasterners built nothing outside of some trinket little shops here and there, container economy and all of that. And the Lagos State is not built off the back of container economy. It's built off the back of heavy duty industry and heavy lifting enterprise. But of course, this ethnic jingoistic red cap character, he continues to propel this amber of division, trying to create. Anyway, let's continue to listen on.
There is no way you can exclude the role of Igbos. What makes a capital big is not somebody thinking it is my own, it is my own. It's the number of people who come from various places to be there. The greatness of Lagos is measured by how much investment is brought from outside. A lot of Igbo investment have been brought.
Okay, let's pause there for a moment and reflect on that. The greatness of Lagos is measured by how much development, how much investment was brought from the outside. That's a total nonsensity. Those are not the metrics of measure. That is not even the parameter of anything. But let's go by his own metrics. Let's go by his own metrics. If the greatness of Lagos is measured by the level of investment that is brought in from outside of it, the investments brought in from outside of Lagos, the pyramid is still, as I said, because if we are excluding Lagos from this from its ethnic stock and putting it as a standalone state, then the investments coming in from Ibadan, Abeokuta, Ogun State, all these states that are most immediate to it, they are profoundly more than investments coming from further afield. That just stands to logic. That stands to logic. And then the investments coming in from the north, because Lagos State is the commercial capital and the financial capital of that country. The investments coming in from the north, where the heavy lift of money, where the heavy concentration of individual wealth. I'm talking about individual wealth, not the collective wealth of the mass. The heavy concentration of individual wealth in the north packs its home in Lagos State. And that is where the investment comes in from too. So this guy is conflating now these little shanty shops that are his stock are building up and down Lagos State in some little hovels with gutters running through. He's conflating that with what actually constitutes investment and what built Lagos State. But then, of course, I am surprised at that conflation with somebody of his capacity. So that conflation is not actually a conflation, but really a deliberate attempt at a confusion. So this is the token now of the ambers of a jingoistic supremacism.
Brought to Lagos. And the good thing, the beauty about Igbos are people who are very faithful, very loyal to the system. Some people, when they come to a place and make money, they carry it home to develop their place. Igbos have a feeling, they say, Ebo Nyebi Kona Washi, that is wherever you live, you must protect and make very great. So Igbos apply the same spirit in Lagos. They develop businesses in Lagos, they establish in Lagos. They did that because Lagos, as a capital, was a capital not for any particular tribe. Lagos was a capital of Nigeria.
Oh, okay. So at last, there's a convergence in thought. So what is now said in this now last sequence, I totally agree with. Lagos is the capital of the country, and it's a city for everyone. There's some sort of merit in Lagos being a no man's land, but that land actually belongs to someone. But we'll take that. So everybody has an unfettered access to Lagos State to come and profit and enterprise within that space. It is their inalienable right as a Nigerian, yielding to nothing, conceding to nothing, unfettered access to Lagos State. Igbo, Mala, Kanuri, wherever you are, whoever you have an unequivocal and unfettered or undiminished, undiluted access to Lagos State as a portal, as a space, as an opportunity. All that Lagos offers it avails you. So we agree to all of that. But to this narrative now that these people, they've come to Lagos State to build it from a waterlogged shanty as a fish market to whatever it is. In fact, it's a self-defeating argument, isn't it? Because if you contrast it against where they come from, then you can see the chasm which continues to widen. So why would you go and develop somewhere where it's not yours to the detriment of where it's yours? So there is nothing in substance that agrees with this narrative now that Iwuanyanwu has been propelling into the space for far too long. But he continues, sadly.
Lagos was a home for all Nigerians, irrespective of tribe. And that is the reason why we all agreed to be under the same country. Now, that is what happened in Lagos. And I want to let you know that this is not only Lagos. Even in Abuja, we are having similar experience. And take, for example, when the federal government decided to move the capital out of Lagos, in those days, our leader, Zik, suggested that the capital should be in the east. In fact, he suggested somewhere between present Ebonyi State and Cross River State. That was the suggestion our leader made. I think some other Yoruba leaders insisted it should be towards Ikorodu. But the federal government, in its wisdom, decided to set up a committee that now decided that Abuja should be the best. And indeed, anybody, those days, our leader, Zik, under the same country. Now, that is what happened in Lagos. And I want to let you know that this is not only Lagos. Even in Abuja, we are having similar experience. And take, for example, when the federal government decided to move the capital out of Lagos, in those days, our leader, Zik, suggested that the capital should be in the east. In fact, he suggested somewhere between present.
All right. So just reflect on what you just said there for a moment. So when they were thinking to move the capital out of Lagos, their leader then, Zeke, according to him, I'm not aware of this, so we have to go with what he's saying. Their leader then, Zeke, suggested that the capital should move to somewhere in the east. So what logic or argument presents that as a possibility? Is it because the east has the coastal line? Lagos already has a coastal line, so why move it from Lagos to the east? Is it that the east has some sort of security fortification that fortifies the east better than Lagos? No, because the reason that they were adducing from moving the capital from Lagos to another space was that Lagos was too coastal and vulnerable to an attack. So the capital city, right on the shores of the Atlantic, that level of exposure are not really suitable. So they were looking for somewhere that is a bit more protected, and that will be to go further into the hinterland. So anywhere in the east is still vulnerable as much as Lagos State.
Bonny State and Cross River State. That was the situation our leader made. I think some other Yoruba leaders insisted it should be towards Ikorodu, but the federal government, in its wisdom, decided to set up a committee that now decided that Abuja should be the best. And indeed, anybody of goodwill, any honest Nigerian will agree that Abuja is a very good place. Abuja is central and has a lot of qualities that make it good. We were told at that time that the very few indigenes who were there will be resettled. And we were told they were resettled with taxpayers' money. We were told that the Abuja, which is going to be a federal capital, will be a home for every Nigerian, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of religion. In the same manner, Igbos moved into Lagos. Igbos moved into Abuja. Igbos, I want you to imagine what Abuja was some years back when it started. Abuja, and see what it is today.
All right. Predictably, and we're back there again. Predictably, we're back there again. So similarly to how they built Lagos State, so we're now going to hear the narrative from Iwuanyanwu about how the Southeasterners built Abuja. So maybe after they've done a tour around the country to build everywhere else, maybe they'll make their way back home to actually build their own homestead. So now here, rinse and repeat how they built Abuja.
Yes, federal government have made a lot of investment, but federal government cannot develop a capital without individual input. I think anybody of goodwill will know that Igbos have played a lot of part in making Abuja what it is today. What is worrying us as Igbos is that instead of Nigeria to appreciate us, instead of Nigeria to acknowledge this capacity of Igbos, they are making hate statements, some of them saying that, calling us all sorts of names. And that is very embarrassing to us, embarrassing even to our younger ones, to our children. Igbos have played a part since 1914 in building this country. There is no area of human endeavor. Is it education? Is it sports? Is it industry? Is it commerce? Where Igbos have lagged behind, Igbos have shown that they are patriotic Nigerians. Igbos have not taken the money they get from Abuja.
Oh, okay, let me pause it there for a moment to just against my instincts agree with yes, there is no equivocation, to borrow Thomas's favorite word, that the contributions of the Southeasterners to the whole totality of the Nigerian experience, there is nothing that diminishes that. They have punched well above their weight in terms of their demography, in terms of the disadvantage of their topography, and all of that. And there is nobody, by the way, more Nigerian than a Southeasterner, because they have embraced the totality of that country more than anyone else. There is no single race of people in the Nigerian firmament that has embraced the Nigerian identity, the Nigerian experience, more than the Southeasterners. You know what I'm talking about. And them now going to Abuja to seize the opportunities and to participate in the development of that space is no mean feat. And the greatest landlords, by the way, in Abuja, of course, the Southeasterners, because they were the first movers into that space, recognizing then that this move has been made, let's be first movers. So a lot of that. But then, of course, the highfalutin language now to leapfrog from that landlord thing to now claiming that they developed Abuja is this excesses that rankles people. And the master of the excesses, of course, our red cap man.
To go and invest in Igbo land. They still invest the money there. But people are telling us now, why don't you go and invest in your place? But that is not the spirit of an Igbo man as an investor. So I think really that this is a fundamental issue. We want Nigerians to help us to.
Oh, okay. I'm not really going to glide over or let what you just said there to gloss over. I'm going to actually take it back a tad. That is not the spirit. I want you to listen to what it says here.
Those have played a part since 1914 in building this country. There is no area of human endeavor. Is it education? Is it sports? Is it industry? Is it commerce? Where Igbos have lagged behind, Igbos have shown that they are patriotic Nigerians. Igbos have not taken the money they get from Abuja to go and invest in Igbo land. They still invest the money there. But people are telling us now, why don't you go and invest in your place? But that is not the spirit of an Igbo man.
Okay. That's where I wanted him to land. So that is not the spirit of an Igbo man, is what he's saying there. So that is not the spirit of an Igbo man. You have to understand what he's saying there. What he's saying essentially is that rather than take the monies that they are making from whatever investment that they are making all over the country, Lagos, Abuja, and everywhere else in between, rather than take it to their region to try and build up their region, they simply reinvest that money to continue to grow it. Because, of course, the money that they take out of whatever profit they're making in Lagos, Abuja, etc., if they take it to their region to try and do some sort of development there, then that effectively becomes dead money. So that is my understanding of what he said, and I'm not sure that there's an understanding that goes that much more beyond that. So that is a flawed argument right there, and that is somewhat, and I won't say unpatriotic, but that is almost a self-loathing argument. Because if you think profit only and you think more to double your money wherever it is that you are, and you don't think to develop your own homestead, when we get to that phase, and we're getting to that phase now within the Nigerian experience, when people are getting fed up of you and they tell you that, look, it's time for you to start to head back to where you come from, then you have to then look to the developments that you have done in that space to fall back on. So it's a flawed logic, it's a warped narrative, but then, of course, that is what is presenting.
An investor. So I think really that this is a fundamental issue. We want Nigerians to help us to stop people who are making hate speeches. The hate speeches create problem, and it could lead to pogrom. The younger ones today, our children are getting worried. I read one by somebody who says he's Kakam for something. I read somebody the other day. There was nothing, he didn't talk about Igbos. He called us all sorts of names. He said every trouble in Yoruba land is caused by Igbos. You know, when an Igbo child in secondary school read this, they get frightened, they get worried. We Igbos take notice that we have not. Igbos are not going to allow anybody, any Igbo man, to do the same to other tribes. If they do it, all of us will come out to say that,
And that is the biggest lie known to mankind. I mean, it's telling us that the supremacist or supremacist, wherever it is that you are on the divide, that sort of extreme language, they would never allow it within their quarters. But there is nobody, there is no human being more ethnophobe than people of his talk. These are people of the tribe. These are tribal people. So I'm not quite sure what he means by that. Why does he even say it? Because everybody knows to the contrary. We all know what that talk is like. So I'm not quite sure why he would even say something like that.
To stop them. So we're appealing to the federal government. We're appealing to the other tribes to tell their people to stop all these hate speeches against Igbos. It affects our children, it affects our people, and we get worried about it because we think we're doing our best for the country.
Not really so much a hate anything against the Southeasterners. You know, in the greater scheme of things, the Southeasterner is not really anything of anything. They're not a threat to anything that of significance to anyone. They're not a threat to taking over and seizing the lands of the Southwesterners, nor are they a threat to taking over and seizing the lands of the Northerners. So they're not a threat to anybody there. They're not a threat to seizing the enterprise of anyone. They're not a threat there. So they're not a threat to have a dominance and preeminence over anyone. They're not a threat there. So they don't really present any significant enough of a threat in any of the parameters, in any of the areas of life that matter for them to really be a figure of loathing. So nobody really loathes the Southeasterners. So all this narrative of Igbophobia that they're trying to, it's somewhat like attention seeking, really, screeching and squealing. Look at me, why are you looking at me? Look at me, why are you looking? Is that sort of juvenile sort of thing, so they don't present, they don't portend danger to anything of any significance to anyone. What just rankles people a little bit is exactly what their lead person is doing here, just constituting a nuisance to time and space, trying to rewrite history, trying to be some sort of supremacist, or when the base of that supremacism doesn't even exist. So it's all of the, it's just the noise making, just quieting it down a bit, and people will let you carry on with your business. People are too busy to really give their attention, but you caught their attention. Look at the Lagos State narrative. They brought down shanty towns in Oworonshoki. They did that in Lupeju. They did that in Maltu. But the moment they did that in some sort of little quarter where the Southeasterners occupy in Festac, the whole country went agog and aflame with narratives of Igbophobia. So what phobia? Because Oworonshoki, of course, predominantly Yoruba with a little bit of the Northerners there. A lot of it just brought down the shanty towns, the illegal structures, and all of that. So who was being prejudiced against there? Or in Mile 2, which is a lot of Northerners and a few Yorubas, etc. So who is being prejudiced there? So it's just this vacuous noise that just rankles people. So there is no basis for any phobia against the Southeasterners other than just this noise that they are saying that people are phobic against them. There's no basis for it because they portend no threat to anything of any significance, to any of the ethnic stockings or the multi races within the Nigerian space.
And of course, because of this now, it has extended. It's not even stopping in hate speech. We are denied of positions. I mean, Igbos know that we are denied of positions. Now, specifically to demolitions in Lagos, I have come into it. I discovered that, you see, Igbos are not people who come to any place. Igbos obey the laws of the land.
Chief Iwuanyanwu, if I
Igbos
can come in here.
In Lagos, for example.
Chief Iwuanyanwu, just yes. Because we have, we've moved on to, we're now talking about these demolitions. As you answer, please, there have been claims of possessing legally issued deeds and documents by those affected by these demolitions. I would like to know what your perspective is on the discrepancy between these claims and the actions of Lagos state authorities that say that they actually don't have these deeds. And given the accusations of hostility and what some would call witch hunting surrounding these demolitions, I would like to know what steps you believe should be taken to continue to ensure.
All right. So whatever ombudsman is responsible for broadcasting in Nigeria, their attention should be drawn to what this lady just did there. If there was ever a leading question leading towards narratives of division, that is it right there. So what she's essentially asking is, do they hate you a little, do they hate you a lot, or do they hate you so much? And these are the reasons. Did you hear that question? That she's claiming, even Iwuanyanwu, maybe I have to, I didn't really even want to make this a long session, but maybe I'll have to go and look for the clip of when Iwuanyanwu actually went on an investigation of the demolitions in Lagos State and came out on camera to tell us that most of the people, if not all of the people who have been demolished, they had no proper legal documentation, and they were building illegal structures. But this lady now inviting him to reverse that position. Unbelievable stuff. In fact, frightening stuff. Not just unbelievable, frightening stuff.
For justice and fairness for those that have already been affected.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll go straight to the point. The point is that it is not fair for the Igbos, it's not fair for Nigeria, for anybody in this country to come at this time when we are passing through tribulation, through crisis in our economy, to stop a businessman from means of livelihood. So I think that every government.
It is not fair for the for Nigerians for the government to stop a businessman from building a house on top of a canal. So do you see how frequently Lagos gets flooded? Lagos is a properly structured, well-planned city, by the way. The plans from the colonial era cascading into the civilian space. Lagos is because they understand that Lagos is below sea level, and the drainage system has been well orchestrated and planned so that there's a smooth water flow during especially the wet seasons. So all of that has been structured, and there's a pullback. I don't know what the technical term is, but there is a recess from the canals, one, to allow for the water flow, and two, to allow for maintenance. But not only have they, because there has to be maybe a 3-5 meters from the canals to allow for that recess, for that pullback, for maintenance and flow, as I said. But not only have they encroached onto that recess pullback, they've actually now, in some instances, sand-filling canals to build on top of it. This is what they are doing, and this is what our red cap man is justifying. It's really unbelievable stuff. You can't make things you can't make it up. It has to happen in real life for you to, you can't, if you wrote this in a movie, they'll say it's too far-fetched.
and fairness for those that have already been affected?
Okay, thank you very much. I'll go straight to the point. The point is that it is not fair for the Igbos, it's not fair for Nigeria, for anybody in this country to come at this time when we are passing through tribulation, through crisis in our economy, to stop a businessman from means of livelihood. So I think that every government, not just Lagos State, any government in the 33 states and Abuja should know that this nation, Nigeria, is passing through crisis. Any act that will mean stopping somebody's means of livelihood, stopping employment, creating crisis should be very seriously taken serious and then probably postponed. Now, in Lagos, we have discovered that the most of the people bought this land many years ago from the natives. They developed roads there, they built houses there, and then they are living there. Now, later, the government want to acquire those places. There is nothing wrong with that. As far as we are concerned, government has got a right to acquire land. But government has a duty to make sure that one, proper notice is given. Not when you just give 5 days notice. A person who is living in a house, you say you should back away. Proper notice should be given. Estate value should be.
All right, let's pause it there for a moment. So it's just unbelievable stuff. So he's saying now that the Southeasterners, they went in, bought this land from the natives, as they call them. I'm not quite sure who the natives are. I think the codification of the Southeastern language was done by Ajayi Crowder. We have the document when he documented their language. So I'm not quite sure who he means by the natives. But he's saying that they went in, bought this land from the natives, and went on to proceed to build. So if they bought this land, and then they said subsequently the government came in then to acquire the land, I'm not quite sure what it is. There's somewhat of a fuzziness. There's a fogginess in that narrative that doesn't somewhat cohere. But let's go with what he said. So they bought this land all those yonks ago from the natives, as he calls them. So if they have held onto those properties for as long as they have done, why were they not able to perfect the titles of those properties in the course of the time period that they've had ownership? So that's just the simple logic to go through. Because if they've perfected the title, of course, and to perfect the title, you have to document and register it properly with the government. So if those properties were with perfected titles, documented and registered by the government cannot bring them down. Otherwise, they will pay through the nose in compensation. But this is the fuzzy narrative presented by our gentleman in the red cap. We listen on.
Should go and value the development, and proper compensation should be paid. So we are demanding the following. One, that government should stop demolition because there is crisis in this country. Crisis in the economy, crisis on employment. We talk of all this kidnapping and all these problems. This part of the problem is unemployment, economic system, and this is.
All right, it gets even more ridiculous. So, a valuation of the property should be done, and then compensation should be made. So, reverse that totally, and then that's more likely what should happen. Reverse that totally, and that's more likely what should happen. The invoice of that demolition should be passed on to the people whose properties were demolished, because they built illegal structures, and the state now having to demolish it at taxpayers' expense. So the reverse of what the gentleman is saying is actually what are they compensating for? They are compensating for an act that is against the law. This is what is inviting. that they should come and compensate people that built illegal structures, blocking waterways, making the city, going against the structured plans of the city, are building out of purpose for, because there are designations for different spaces within the state to serve particular purposes. There are designations, and by the way, you'll notice that Computer Village in Ikeja is being brought down because that space was designated for residential use, not for commercial use. So all of these things, they would have found out all of these things had they bothered to properly document their intent for whatever they were acquiring with the state. And the state could have guided them that, no, you cannot buy that land for reasons of recess from the canal. You cannot build that sort of structure there for reasons of the designation. So if they had bothered to designate, to legitimize the enterprise of building, then they would not come. So now the invoicing of the demolition should actually go to these people rather than any consideration for anything that looks like a compensation. But he carries on.
Will make it worse. So that's one. Number two, government should not say they won't pay compensation, because people, Igbos, all the ones I have seen, never took away the land forcefully from anybody. If they took away land forcefully, the person should come and tell the world. They bought it from the original owners. There is no land in this country that didn't have original owner. They bought it by original owners. Yes, the government has a right. We don't doubt that. If the government want to take that, they now will value it. They now will give them sufficient time. You don't just give them 5 days or 6 days. Give them time to pack away. These people have no money. Most of them.
And by the way, that's another outright lie. The government did not give them, because we've gone through all the histories of those spaces, the government did not give them 5 to 6 days. The government gave them about 3 to 5 years. They've been notifying these people that, one, they would tell them that this structure is not allowed in this space. So they'll tell them that. So they had sufficient enough time. We've even seen images and videos of some of these buildings where in red markings, the government will mark it for demolition, and they will put the date that mark for demolition was marked on that building. So those are not 5-7 days, or they are more 3-5 years. So they've given them sufficient enough notice for them to explore their legal opportunities and alternatives in terms of accommodation. So sufficient enough time. But what really, what staggers even more is that there are ongoing building projects where the government will put that marking on it to say that this building is not allowed in this space, but they will ignore that marking and continue to build. So what this gentleman just said there is an outright lie. I'm sorry to say that of a senior. With all due respect and everything, it's an outright lie.
Them are poor traders who have over the years made money, saving 1,500, this and that, until they make 1 million or so. They are poor people. If you say you're giving them 5 days, where will they go? Some of them are homeless. So give them sufficient time, they will pack away, and then pay them compensation for the structure they have built, so that they will know that the government is fair to them. That's all we are demanding. I think from all indication, it appears the government is thinking in that direction now. But I know there are some people who have such hatred for Igbos, and they don't hide it for no just cause, really. They tell you Igbos are greedy, Igbos are this. What type of greed? They say Igbos, some of them say Igbos are before others. Everybody, every human being is like that. They say Igbos Igbo are before others. Every tribe in Nigeria. I want you to check. Igbos are even the best. All these governments, all these people, have you seen how many of them have got Igbo special assistance or Igbo? Go and count the people they take. Today, how many Igbos are you seeing in authority? But Igbos are the only people who, when they are in power, consider federal character. So I think that is what we want fairness.
Can you cite an example of that? Because I'm aware that Charles Soludo appointed a Yoruba man as into his government, into his cabinet, just a couple of days ago, and the whole thing went agog nationwide. That look, oh, we have appointed a Yoruba man. I think first time in history. But go to the Lagos State Parliament, and half the stock there are Igbos, even House of Representative members representing constituencies in Lagos State, some of them Southeasterners. So I'm not anyway. I suppose is the leader of the Ohanese social, so he has to speak like that. I suppose we can compensate with that understanding that he's only really, maybe this is what Afeni Ferry should be doing as well, per Adebanjo, rather than whatever it is that he has been doing.
Yes, they should stop the demolition. The economy is too bad. They should give sufficient notice. They should now value the properties and then tell the people how much they are going to get. That's all. Then they can now pay them the money and demolish the place and use the land for whatever they want to do. That is what we actually expect anywhere. This thing, as I said, is not only in Lagos. It's the same thing in Abuja. You know, it's normal. I have told my people that you shouldn't, most people are frustrated. I've told them as a leader, don't be frustrated. It's normal human instinct. Once people think you are successful, they are bound to attribute it to many things. At times people say that drug pushers, that this. But I have in my office, because of this, kept record of all the people arrested for drugs. Yes, I have seen some Igbo names here. But there is no tribe in Nigeria that is not involved in drug trafficking. It's not Igbos. I have seen kidnappers. Well, today you people know better who are being kidnapped. And in fact, you see the thing that is happening in the Northwest. It's paining us in Ohanese. It's paining.
I'm not sure that is a space that Iwuanyanwu wants to open up. All you have to do is everybody listening now, open another tab and then type in Nigerian arrested in, and then put any country of your choice, and then go through the top 10 list and see which names come out. So I'm not sure you should be saying things like that because the facts don't bear that out. Just don't call me whatever you like, some tribal whatever, but open a Google tab just next to the stream, type in Nigerian arrested in, and then put any country in the world. South Africa, Malaysia, Dubai, wherever, in Nigerian arrested in, and then click on search, and then go through the landing page, the first page, and see which name comes out the most.
Igbos, what is happening in the Northwest, the Northwest and Northeast, because we believe, and I want Nigerians to know that, every Nigerian should know that it will come down if he's not arrested. And the way the government is handling it now, it will not be solved. It will never be solved because even these people now, if they want to kidnap more people, they will. I have got our Igbo intelligence who have given me report on this matter. And I want to say that from the report my people gave me, there is no way, no amount of soldiers, no amount of money invested on equipment can support this unless you bring development, you bring security to the local governments. I don't mean these local governments created now. If I were the president, he has to call a meeting of the governors. Some governors already have seen that the local government is effective. Government cannot stop all these problems. They can't stop corruption. They can't stop unemployment. They can't stop kidnapping and banditry unless power goes to local government. If they just continue all this, it will continue the same way.
Things that you'd mentioned earlier.
Arms are in creating opportunities for people, business to thrive, for people, for business to thrive.
Things that you'd mentioned earlier, because you spoke about local development and state development. So do you believe that Lagos State and the Commissioner Tokunbo Wahab or the Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu are not focusing on the development with these demolitions, but are instead focusing on ethnic discrepancies or ethnic tribal tensions within the state. And the second thing is that you talk about fairness in positions, and you had said that Igbos are being denied positions. Do you believe that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is denying the Igbo population proper representation in the federal government?
Yes. Now, as far as Lagos state government is concerned, action speaks louder than voice. Everybody have seen that people's houses are being demolished. I don't need anybody to, everybody knows, I don't need to say it. Lagos state government, under the present leadership, have been demolishing properties. I think they have seen, in the recent report, I think they have seen them stop. But what we are saying, so leaders of the country, leaders of states, Lagos state, should tell them that there is hardship. Whether you like it or not, if they stop a trader, because we read the thing, people are saying Igbos have occupied everywhere, Igbo traders. Some of them say wherever Igbo traders are there, the will be demolished. And they're making good the boast. People have boasted they're going to demolish all stores, and they are making good the boast by demolition. And we see it. We are human beings, for God's sake. Which group we see people boasting they will destroy them, and they destroy them, and we are watching them, and people are clapping for them. We cannot be happy because they said it. What they said they are doing. So I think it's left for the Lagos state government. But I think from the report I have, they have changed attitude. But I want them to go further, to look at the economic situation and know what to do. Now, question of appointment. Let me say it clearly. Igbos are people, when they say they are with you, they are with you. Igbos didn't support Tinubu. We didn't support him. But now, I am their leader. We have said, okay, he has won election. I mean, and through
all right, let's document that moment. Did I just say they considered that he won the election? So he did not steal it anymore. He's not an illegal president, but is that the now stance of the Southeast, or is it the Ayo Adebanjo of the Southeast speaking out of tune with the rest of the clan?
I found it. Anything, people now who are fighting Tinubu, they are fighting to destabilize. I think they will destabilize Nigeria. Anybody who is a patriotic Nigeria will rally around the government to make sure the government is a success. I don't see anybody talking of impeachment. It doesn't make any sense. It will cause confusion. I don't see anybody talking of military government. It will not help. Igbos, we are business people, entrepreneurs. We want peace. We want a stable government. That is why when there was the demonstrations, Igbos decided we are not going to participate. We want to support Tinubu. Whatever, he's a human being. He must have made some mistakes. We are going to help him to rectify it if he will listen to us. If he listens to us, fine. Even though we have been denied, you don't need anybody to tell you. Igbos have been a major player in this country from independence. Our forebears helped to fight independence. We recognize our position. Well, you see all the appointments, you see everything done. I mean, we look at it, it's clear that we are not having a fair deal, but we are not bothered.
All right, let's pause it there for a moment and just examine what is said. Let's have a look at Tinubu's cabinet, see what a fair deal is. So that's Tinubu, the president, right there. So this is Tinubu's cabinet. So Tinubu, Shatima, and then George Akume. So he's an Igbo man, George Akume. So that's one already. And then we go on and on. And then where is the next one? Yes, we have Yemsen Wike. He's an Igbo man. And we keep on going. We have Beta Edu. She's an Igbo woman. We have Doris Anite. She's an Igbo. So that's 5 now. We have Uche Naji. So that's 6. We have Nikuruka Onye Diocha. So that's 7. We have We have Eperipe Epo, so that's 8. We have John Enna, so that's 9. Who else do we have? We have Uji Kennedy, so that's 10. We have Dave Umahi, that's 11. So out of the however many members of cabinet Tinubu, we have 11 from the southeast, but apparently they are underrepresented. But there it is. Let's carry on.
I have resolved. I'm the leader now. My decision now is to develop a place. We have decided, fortunately for us, we have a very strong diaspora group, and we have decided that we have tired of begging for light, begging for water, begging for seaport. We now want to use our power. All we want is for federal government to give us the power. That's why we're saying restructure. When we restructure, even if we are not president, we will now develop our place. If we develop industrial place, our young people will be employed. Most of the problem we have today is unemployment, is poverty. And I am determined to lay the foundation of a new Igbo land where young people will get job, where poverty will be eradicated, where development will.
So I agree with that mission statement, by the way. And by the way, I don't really object to a lot of the things that this guy is saying, Chief Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu. I don't really object to anything that he's saying because that is the job description of his position. Is there to prejudice towards his own side, advantage his own side, get as much of the national benefit towards his own side, push the agenda of his own people and propel his own people to as high within the Nigerian space as possible. So exactly is the president of Ohanaeze Ndigbo. So what else do you expect him to be saying other than what you're hearing from him? So no faulting him at all. But you want to contrast that with the leadership of Yoruba land, like people like Adebanjo, and then you see how to do it and how not to do it. But let's start bringing it to a close and then we start to wrap it up.
Will take place. We have no intention of withdrawing our investment in other areas. We don't, even though people are chasing us out. No, we are patriotic Nigerians. Let me tell you, if Igbos withdraw from some states today in Nigeria, those states were going to collapse. There are some states in Nigeria today
like which
where
states,
Igbos
like
investment,
which states,
Igbo trader, Igbo businessmen. Well, I mean, I don't want to talk without getting the facts, but I know many states, because.
All right. So, that presenter was so heavily inviting him to say Lagos State, which we think is which we know is where he's referencing. But it'd be quite interesting actually to see what impact mass southeastern migration from Lagos actually impacts on Lagos's economy. You know, the pros and cons of it. How much impact will it actually have on that economy is really thin. It will have an impact, of course, because they're a significant part of the economy of Lagos State. But how much of an impact on the economy of Lagos State are they as an enterprising entity? So that's just something. Maybe we'll look at some figures to try and because I suspect that the southeastern space is no more than a single digit or to the lower ends of double digits of Lagos's economy. And where is their impact point? Their impact point is usually, yes, they have a lot of presence in banking, insurance, etc. But then they're not the biggest presence there. Of course not. So their biggest presence is in satellite trades like shops and those sort of, it's essentially around the importation of electronic goods space. That is the main hub of the Southeast enterprise within Lagos State, at least the visuals of it. So if they left a mass, how much of a gap would that leave, and how much of an economic impact and a convenience impact would that have on Lagos State? So that's what reflecting on, and I'm sure there's sufficient enough data for us to crunch to actually come up with an actual figure of the economic worth of the Southeast in Lagos State, one, and then the economic impact of a mass migration from Lagos by the Southeasterners too. So let's have some figures to back these things up.
And those Igbos, they live Igbos. How you know? There is no place where Igbos don't have business, even up to local government area. Go around Nigeria, there is hardly any local government where you don't have Igbo traders, Igbo businessmen, and they are contributing to IGR. They are contributing to gross domestic product of the place. And if they leave, all those things will collapse. So to be a setback to those tests. So
all right,
as
sir.
patriotic Nigerians,
yes, sir,
we have.
If you allow me, sir, just very quickly.
Well, we have told them yes, they must stay.
Okay, that's good to know, so that because it's one country, is one people, and we, you know, it is better to preach unity. But very quickly, sir, I'd like to ask you, before the elections, leading towards the elections last year, Ohanaeze Ndigbo had a kind of a pact with Afenifere that led to the coinage of Ohanifere. And I'm wondering if that is still intact. Just very briefly, was that meant to prosecute the election, or can something better, given what you have told us about how you now want the Igbos to develop, you know, on their own? Can that pact with Afenifere, you know, the Ohanifere strategy, can that be extended, you know, beyond politics, so that we can see unity and better development?
It's an interesting concept. I've never heard that phraseology before, by the way, so I'm coming across it for the first time. It's an interesting concept, or Ohanifere, which is the convergence, the coming together of the Southeast and the Southwest. But it's an interesting concept, but what is the workability of that? You know, because who subordinates to whom? Because it can never really be a meeting of equals, because these are two alpha ethnic groupings, these two alpha race of people. So the idea of Ohanifere, even I'm already objecting to that. Even in the phraseology in my mind, I'm already triggered that why is it Ohanifere and not Feni or Ohanaeze, or Afeni Ohanaeze? So why so that narrative? I wonder if I'm already calling to question the ethnic stock of this presenter here, who is saying Ohanifere. So that coming together of the Southeast and the Southwest, an interesting concept and something that can create magic. But who takes preeminence? Who takes the lead? You know, because yes, I don't see a Yoruba person subordinating himself to anyone, and I cannot imagine an Igbo man subordinating himself to anyone. But somebody has to subordinate in any relationship. So an interesting concept, but how does it work?
Between the Igbos and the Yorubas, for example. Very quickly, sir.
Yes, I can tell you positive yes, because I am the leader of Igbos, so I can tell you Igbos are faithful to that union, not just the one with Afeni, but Igbos are faithful to Union of the South. I want to tell you that today, Igbos are part of Union of the South, which I think will make for a one united Nigeria. South, Southeast, and Southwest have come together, and the Middle Belt have joined us. And we expect also to get the other parts of the country. When other parts of the country, if all of us come together, we'll be talking one language. So when we talk about restructuring, when we talk about, all of us will say the same language. As I have said, Igbos today, we have made it very clear that we are going to do everything to support this government. We expect this government too to look to our problems. We have said to the government that Nnamdi Kanu's detention is a problem for us, because many youths are, because of this, causing trouble, creating problem, and even criminals have joined them. They say because Nnamdi Kanu is unjustly detained, and that is made was by the fact that a bank of proper jurisdiction here have released them. Many other people in other parts from other tribes who are young people charged with such have been released. Nnamdi Kanu is the only person. I expect that if he are now trying to support Tinubu and helping, Tinubu should also help us, because the only insurgents we may have criminality, which is everywhere, is this idea that Nnamdi Kanu is detained. And every Monday, people are not allowed to go to work. And you know the type of security we have today, which is centered at Abuja, they cannot handle the thing. That is why we want the security to be centered to local governments. I expect that in view of what is happening today, Tinubu should call a meeting of all the governors. Every state now should have known the structure. They should now form new centers. But the local government should be state. It's only the state that should be able. Allocation of money should not be given to local government, should be given to the states. States should get more money so that they can power the local government. Once every local government have got security manned by indigenous of that local government, they will see all these people passing. They will arrest them. But as we are doing all these things we are doing, if you like put the whole money we have in the country, you can never. You continue blaming the security. What can they do? It's not possible because the structure is very defective. That is the point. So for us, Igbos, we believe in this unity. We believe in unity of the whole country.
Yes, sir.
At the moment, we have a unity of North, South, South, Southwest, and Middle Belt. That unity manifested in the last election result. You could see in the last election result, we supported P2B, and of course, he went into a party that was not much known in the past, but they did well. But you see, we are still faithful to that unity. We are faithful. We are, apart from, we know some people continue talking about it. I know that all Yoruba people, the Yoruba leaders are with us. And besides, let me tell you, for example, now I'm mourning because my Oba, Lagos,
Olubada of Ibadan
died. Yes, Olubada of Ibadan is dead. I'm the Balogu Ibadan land. I'm the person. So I'm from there. One of my best daughters is married to an Ibadan strong family, and he has 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. So I have my people there. How can I every Igbo family, there is hardly any Igbo family that haven't got one of their children, either the daughter or the son, marrying in Yoruba land. We have gone too far.
I don't go that far. I'm not quite sure that yes, I'm not sure that the Southeasterners marry Yoruba women, no, but I know that the Southwesterners they delight in fact every they delight in marrying from the Southeast. That's just it. Every Yoruba man aspires to an Igbo wife. So there is that. In fact, there's a lot that joins us together than actually divides us, because I'm not aware that there's a single family that is not split along the that is not actually not split, but brought together really with a good complement of Igbo wives in that family, especially in Yoruba land. But I'm not aware though that the Southeastern men marry Yoruba women. I may be wrong.
And he has 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. So I have my people there. How can I every Igbo family, there is hardly any Igbo family that haven't got one of their children, either the daughter or the son, marrying in Yoruba land. We have gone too far. We have reached a point where nobody can say we should go. So these people who are shouting Igbo should go from Lagos, I think people, Yoruba should warn them and call them to order. Because you see, it is not possible. When people have reached the point we have reached, to tell them to go. We cannot go. And my people are not going. I have told them they won't go anywhere, because the properties they bought belong to them.
Yes.
And the federal government, Lagos is a capital of federal government, and it belongs to all Nigerians. Abuja is capital of federal government, belongs to all of us. Somebody came to me and was talking about Wike. Oh, that Wike, they say Wike he should not be a governor, I mean minister, because he's an Igbo man. Well, I told them, listen, that Abuja.
Oh, all right, so that's there for so that's for your benefit, Solomon. So I told you that Wike was an Igbo man. You maybe you are too young to know, but you've heard the leader of the Southeast now telling us that Wike indeed is an Igbo man, of course, and a Ikwere man is an Igbo man.
When somebody came to me and was talking about Wike, oh, that Wike, that they say Wike is he should not be a governor, I mean minister, because he's an Igbo man. Well, I told them, listen, that Abuja, Wike is an Igbo son, and I, as the President General of Ohaneze Igbo, I will defend him. Ohaneze will defend Wike. Wike has a right.
Of course, Ohaneze Ndigbo will defend Iwike because he comes under. It's just like Afenifere saying they will defend me. Of course, they will defend me. I'm an Oyo man, and Afenifere, at least Afenifere on paper, is meant to champion the interest of the Yoruba people. So Ohaneze Ndigbo is there to champion the interest of the Igbos. And Yemsen Wike, a full-blood Igbo man from Ekwere, very much so he falls within their parameter. So I'm not even sure. Is him saying that he would defend the right of somebody from Imo? Of course he would. So no different than a Ekwere man. So Wike, of course, yet one more Igbo person in Tinubu's cabinet.
Oh, that Wike, that they say Wike he should not be a governor, I mean minister, because he's an Igbo man. Well, I told them, listen, that Abuja, Wike is an Igbo son, and I, as the President General of Ohaneze Igbo, I will defend him. Ohaneze will defend Wike. Wike has a right. He has a right to be a minister of federal capital, because federal capital is a capital for everybody. It's not for any tribe. Every tribe and religion, every religion could be there.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
The federal capital does belong. As you said, you believe in the unity of Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and I'm so sorry for your loss. We're all mourning the
Thank you.
Olubado.
So that it is. We'll start to wrap it up here. Let me send a link. If anybody wants to come in, if anybody comes in within the next 2-3 minutes, they can have a quick say. But we'll start to wrap it up here. Only really, I've never seen this girl, this one here at the bottom of the screen, the one with the chubby cheeks. So it looks as though this one right here, the one to the left of Chief Iwuanyanwu. So I've never seen her before on a rise. So it looks as though they are recruiting even more of these sort of young Pepe girls sort of into the Arise table. But there it is. So that's our Chief Iwuanyanwu right there. So here is Kulata coming to flog me that Iwike is not an Igbo man. A senior Igbo person insists he is Kulata.
Is it by force to be Igbo? They've told you guys that they are not Igbo. How many times are they going to say it? And you have to now insist that they're Igbo. It's like you calling Igala people Yoruba because 60% of our languages are the same. So does that mean Igala people are Yoruba? Or
Yes.
it's Shekiri people that are made up of Ijebu people, Ilaje people, Igala people, but mostly Yoruba? Are you now going to force Yoruba identity on Shekiri?
All right. I think that's an extreme analogy. Let's use.
It's not. How is it extreme?
Let's use a Lori. If an Ilori man tells you he's not a Yoruba man, are you by just from his pronouncement going to is his? You know that the palace of their laughing was actually in Ilori before he moved.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Ilorin. It wasn't.
But-
It was not of Ilorin to the
Yes,
west,
yes,
but
within
wasn't
that
Ilorin.
space. So can you imagine somebody from that Stoke?
Even Fulani. Okay, I had a friend that back in college that was from Ilorin, and also even secondary school, actually, secondary school, Belgore. They're Fulani. Those ones tell me they're not Yoruba, who am I to argue with them? Because their ethnic stock is Fulani. But when a tribe, or sorry, ethnic group says, I mean, you have to give them the right to defend, to frame themselves. When they tell you that I mean, from the historicity, that originally they're not Igbos, because many people do not realize one thing: the background of the people that are in the southeast, they come from different places, right? Anambra is different. A lot of them have Benin stock in them. Northern Anambra is different. A lot of it is an Igala. Same thing with Northern Enugu. When you go to the Ebonyi side, you are now getting to Benue. And when you go to the Abia side, you're getting to the Efik Ibibio people. They're mixed. So that area is not kind of like, they don't, I mean, it's only a few people that have this Henry history. So when they say this is Igbo, that is Igbo, that's fine. But when those people, a smaller group, tells you they are not, then you just have to respect the autonomous identity. So Wiki has said it.
I don't know that about that because I think it's more of a political stance than an
It
identity.
does not matter.
Yes, but their stock is Igbo. They are
No,
they are genetically more leaning towards the Igbo, and geographically, historically,
no.
yes.
Historically, they do have some lineage, especially when it comes to their royalty to Benin. So that's not true. The same thing with the Igbos in Anambra, Onitsha. They too have their own ancestry, Ezechima, to Benin. For a long time, some Anambra people used to refer to the other Southeasterners as Igbo because they felt they were different. And you can even see that even till today. So do not call Ikwere people, because I know few Ikwere people, they will fight if you call them Igbo. It's like saying a Scottish man is an Englishman because they bear John and they speak English. Can you call a Scot? Can you call a Scot English?
Yeah,
Or a Welsh?
but a Scottish man is not an Englishman now because it's a Scottish man.
Exactly.
But,
An Ikwere man is Ikwere man. Igbo man is Igbo man.
But okay, what's the ethnic stock of the Aquarius? They can't be a standalone.
They are Ikweres.
But what do you mean they are Aquarius? What is their wider? It is like they are worries. They're an inflection, a subsect of the Yorubas. You know, like the
Yeah,
Benin
but
subsect of the Yorubas. So
But
they're
when
still
you go and meet, when you
Yoruba.
meet an Awori man, they'll tell you they're Yorubas. They will not tell you we are Aworis. It's the same thing. It's like you should be calling the Shekiri Yoruba people, because I mean, the history is made up of Yoruba, Ijebu, Ilaje, and that area in Ondo State, and Olukumi people migrated, plus some Igala, with the Benin royalty. Should you now say, okay, because they come from us, then they are Yoruba? Of course not. You can see it in their language, you can see it in their name. They are Yoruba people. Why are you going to call them Yoruba? They don't, they insist they're Shekiri, so respect their sovereignty. Same thing with Query. Let's stop stealing people's identity. For what?
All right. I'm still going with your Ohanese. I would rather go with an Ohanese man who would know the history more than you, as knowledgeable as you are, Kulata. You cannot know Igbo land better than Chief Iwuanyanwu.
Iwuanyanwu knows Igbo land. This is River State. Oyato is different. And I don't know if Iwuanyanwu has read the history of even his own people, apart from whatever he just knows out of default. I've read some of it, and I know that even that place, they're not really homogeneous like that. It's just now that it's now become homogeneous. But that's besides the point. Whatever that guy was talking about, there's too much. What word will I use now?
Jingoism.
It's not the jingoism. It's when you have some pompous you could read some sort of some sort of superiority complex.
Well, Derek, that's what actually made me do. You know, I hesitated to do this video because, of course, I'm already under that banner of somewhat. But I just couldn't stand it when I watched it. I just had to react to it. You know,
It's not. It's kind of like
he's a
irritating. It's
very
kind of
divisive
nauseating.
sort of a guy. This and why I want sort of yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's divisive, but if you're going to like project, right, you should have a basis for that projection. It's like projecting with no basis. When you look at the Lagos, the biggest businesses in Lagos, if you look at it, is run by Yoruba people, and the largest of them all is Hausa. If you look at it in dollar terms, is Hausa first, Yoruba second. So you can't, because you have shops and you trade, then you now claim they owe you. They owe you what? Nobody owes you the right to build improperly and then claim some sort of entitlement. That's nonsense. Who runs a country that way? If you build illegally, you should be kicked out and you should pay for it. So
This narrative that if the Southeasterners pull out of Lagos, Lagos will collapse. It's a nonsense. So let's agree on that. But if they do pull out of Lagos, it will impact the Lagos economy. No doubts about that. But to what degree is really we don't yet have, or I don't have to hand the crunched numbers to identify just what percentage of impact. You know, what impact would it have if they decided en masse to pull out of Lagos?
like any population pulling out of a place, there will be some economic impact on impact till they get back to the alternative equilibrium. But you could also even question that, because in 1993, we had something similar when Abiola's mandate got pulled. People ran back to the southeast. What happened in Lagos? Nothing. Nothing. So, like, I get his role in terms of like being the ethnic champion, but it's not that big of a deal, one man. It's not that big of a deal. It's not, I mean, when you even talk about the fact that you can even bring Chinese people to bring their own product, because all this product that is sold is just made in China stuff. People bring it in, they use all sorts of ways of buying them, like, legitimizing some monies that needs to be legitimized. Bring it in.
Are you aware of that narrative? I didn't know you knew that.
I knew, of course, I know.
If you are inferring what I think you are inferring, I did not actually know that you knew that.
Me, feedback by any sorrow.
Yes, what be South Africa, kakakiri,
Yeah.
okay, yes.
Of course, now, of course,
I didn't know you knew.
It's to claim the money. It's not. It's been happening for a while. It's not. It's nothing new. But when you say to replace those products, you can bring. I mean, those products can be replaced. It's just so he shouldn't really overplay his hands. That's what I'm going to say. Because I just don't like. It's divisive. The guy is very divisive, and it's irritating. Just be making those kind of nonsense statements. On what basis? On what basis? Because when you like look at all the big businesses, look at the dollar earnings, look at the tax base, the data is not there to back all this pompousness. It's just not there. So I mean,
all right, brilliant. Mike, a quick word from you, and then we'll wrap it up. It was just a little reaction. I'm not sure how much of it you caught. Iwuanyanwu printing and peacocking, as it often does.
Yeah, I will say one thing I respect about the Igbo socio-cultural leaders is they are 100% Igbo interest. You understand? They will do emotional blackmail. They'll do whatever it takes to go for that Igbo interest. No matter how it affect others or they don't care. They don't give a shit. But the Yoruba socio-cultural leaders, I probably say that the most. I don't want to insult them. Probably the most useless. I don't even regard them. They even stand for more Igbo interest than Yoruba interest. Those guys don't come out to even organize anything Yoruba to even or go out there to speak on behalf. They don't. They don't stand for Yoruba interest. That's an unfortunate thing. But that's what I respect about them. They're out there 100% for their own. Why can't others do the same? Everybody's stand for your own shit, especially the Yorubas. It's like almost like since I don't know, I've never seen Yoruba leadership that really go out there to discuss the interests of the Yoruba people as just all the advantages we have with the landmass, with the territory, with the sea and everything. They've never come out to do that. I don't know any of Yoruba business community coming together, the Union of Yoruba Traders or things. We don't have it, but they have all these things. Your Igbo traders, they're so organized in terms of focusing on their own ethnic group, and that's why they can come out and be doing all these kind of talks anyway. At the end, when they talk like that, what they do, this emotional blackmail, is whenever they want something, that's when they come out to do it, and they always succeed in getting it. When they want, now they did it to get 5 states, as small as their territories. The entire 5 eastern region is the size of one single state in Southwest, like Oyo. But they find a way to play that game and end up with 5 states. Now they're agitating for 6 more states, 6 states. Now they play the same game to get Ojukwu returned back to Nigeria after the guy sacrificed 3 million human beings. I don't know how you pardon that kind of human being and still made him the leader of the Southeast. Now they are playing the same emotional blackmail to get American release. And they're still going to continue hating you regardless. You can play those games, they'll still hate your ass. They'll still continue. The hatred is not going anywhere. It's been like that from the beginning of the creation of Nigeria. They are born to hate Yoruba people. That's just a fact. So you Yorubas wasting your time.
If that's a bit, they are not born to hate Yoruba people.
Like
Iwuanyanwu was saying, there's no family in the Southeast that does not have a good complement of Yoruba in-laws.
Move to the Southeast now. My uncle that went there, I was a police there. I was trying to start. The guy told me how to frustrate the hell out of them, man. Dude, that space, they just don't. You are not. Yorubas are not.
Yeah,
they don't
but
like
your uncle's experience does not represent the total.
No. How many Yorubas that will tell you that? Hey, we went to the Southeast or we are around Igbos and they really accommodate us. They don't.
No, Koko used to do business there. He said they made a lot of money.
Yeah, that's why he's agitating for welfare all over the place. Successful businessman be talking about welfare 24/7. Come on now. See, with the Igbo thing, what I see is when it's convenience, they will call those people Igbos. When it's not convenience, they will tell them they are not Igbos. When it's time for Biafran politics, it's when they will call those people Igbo. When it's time for Nigerian politics, those people are not Igbos. Before, I used to categorize all those people, even the Delta people, I used to call them more Igbo. The first people that told me they were not Igbo were actual Igbo people. They was like, no, those people are not Igbos. They'll be the first to tell you that. But when it comes to the Biafran conversation, they say, they are all Igbos. They will even call Ishekiri Igbo, Yoruba Igbo, all of them. When it comes to Biafran politics, that's the game. Question I will ask you is this: when they are doing the World Igbo Congress, how many times do they invite Korea there, or anybody from outside of that 5 eastern states? They don't regard them. So when it's convenient, when they play that game, that's what I'm saying. It's just the very manipulative culture that they practice. Like they just play games, and unfortunately, all these Yorubas fall for it. A lot of you guys fall for it. The one now sees some Yorubas coming, they should listen and they can't hear because unless they've been playing that stupid game. We leave Kanu now. You get the same results. You say when you lose Ojuko is one that breed Kanu. The next generation of Igbos to hate Yorubas. Kanu will come out now. You go and breed the next generation of Igbos. Of course, when it comes out being in Supreme Leader in the Southeast now, you go there and everything it says goes. You start writing books, twisting things. You guys, I don't know. I don't care. They do what they do, but my only problem is my own people. Yoruba people are just so foolish that you can't think for yourself. You focus more on the other people complaining, trying to appease and trying to pander. I don't know why you guys always trying to prove to people that you're homoluabi. You see, but you always want to convince other people that you're homoluabi. They find out people that don't like your ass, man. Human nature, you don't like me. I shouldn't have to like you back. What the heck, man? If people don't like you, goddamn, focus. You don't have to. I'm not saying you need to hate them, but don't be pandering to them now.
All right. Thank you, Mike. So Mike, it was only really meant to be like a 1 hour reaction to this clip. We'll have our evening session later. So thank you, everyone. Kenny came through at the super chat. You see, this guy Kenny is actually a big artist, music guy. Maybe I'll speak to him off screen to see if he wants to come and speak about his life in the entertainment industry. So that's Kenny Almighty. I think his genre is Fuji or is it Juju music? We'll find out soon enough. But thank you, everyone. Agree, disagree, react to it in the comment section. We'll see you in the later session. But here I say.